Let's talk a little bit about the Fed front and center.
Okay.
Because you are somebody who, again, has been on the board at the New York Fed and has watched through to see what happens. We saw the rate cuts come in, 50 basis points. The market kind of thought, OK, maybe this is the beginning of another big thing, more rate cuts to come. Jay Powell basically said yesterday, the chairman of the Fed, that we're going to see how the economy goes, and we will determine from there. What's your take on what the Fed's next action might be, what the economy looks like right now?
That's a good question, Becky. So unusually for me, as I was thinking about my prior appearances here, I think the markets have the Fed's posture about right. I don't think they're over tight or over short. I think there's a little bit of concern on the downside for some unemployment risk. One of the things I think I'm a little bit on the other side of that I'm a little bit concerned about right now is this strike that you've been reporting on.
Yeah.
At our center at Brookings, Ben Bernanke did a big study, concluded that the biggest contributor to the inflation was a supply shock. The COVID-related inflation. So if we get another supply shock, that could, I'm worried it might challenge supply chains. But I think overall, I think the Fed's in the right place, and the 50 basis point I interpreted as putting an insurance cushion underneath the economy so that we don't run into this negative territory with unemployment. But I think the most important thing here, and I think the markets have it about right, but the most important thing here is it is entirely possible that Jay Powell and the Fed pulled off a soft landing. And that would be historic. And there were a lot of skeptics who said they couldn't do it. And I think if we actually get through this without a recession, that will have been, I think, a historic achievement. And it's a testimony to the importance of an independent Fed. Really, really important. Imagine if elected politicians had been in charge of interest rates over the last couple of years and where our inflation might be today. Might look more like our budget deficit rather than the place we've gotten to. So I think Fed independence, one, Jay Powell's skillful and his team's skillful management of this episode is really impressive.
How long do we have to go before we really declare mission accomplished on that front?
I'm tempted to use the word transitory, but I guess that wouldn't be useful.
Because I think eventually there will be a recession.
Right.
There will be a recession. But if we get through, I think, if we get into 2025,
there's
then you're in business cycle territory as opposed to interest rate lags.
Sorry, there is a narrative that while inflation wasn't transitory, that it was supply chain related post-pandemic. So you could have expected, you can give credit to the Fed, or you can give credit to, a lot of people give credit to, believe it or not, to the Biden administration for how they handled it. So I'm not sure who gets credit for inflation.
Well, I'm not sure if we need credit here, but my point is there's a study that Ben Bernanke and a fellow by the name of Olivier Blanchard, who's sort of the Ben Bernanke of Europe. He's the other economist, Nobel Prize quality economist. The two of them got together, did this study under our center at Brookings. And they concluded, very academic, highly geeky stuff, but they concluded that the inflation associated with the pandemic was largely a result of a supply shock. Right. That was then followed by labor market adjustments associated with it. And they found very little power from the stimulus spending that occurred. Other than it.
Then you didn't need the Fed to tighten conditions.
And then you need, but once you get
happened anyway.
But once you get inflation expectations in the economy,
you need the Fed.
You need the Fed. So for sure, you can't let that get out of it. It gets contagious.
Didn't dampen the market.
The strike that's taking place right now, how long would they say it would take before that creates a similar supply shock? I mean, are we talking?
I don't think it will.
2 weeks, 6 weeks?
I don't know, Becky. It's a good question. My sense is, I raise it only to just keep your eye on it. If it gets extended and if it spreads, it feels to me like it's contained both in terms of geographic and probably time, but it's just something to keep your eye on.
If you believe that the inflation we saw over the last 4 years was supply shock induced as it relates to the pandemic, then how do you measure, I mean, this goes back to the politics of this moment, how do you measure this economy?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
How do you measure the success of this economy? Do you say this is a spectacularly successful economy?
You'd say that the problem with wages keeping up wasn't the Biden administration's fault, that inflation has been up 20%. You'd say that it was already going to happen.
This was kind of baked in. There was some modest contribution to the last stimulus thing.
Yeah.
But I think the stimulus.
I think that too many dollars chasing
it was an issue, but
supply.
It wasn't. There's no doubt that was an issue, but it wasn't the predominant issue. It wasn't why inflation took off. Look, I think the economy's in very good shape. Jay Powell says it. I ran into two Squawk Box regular guests. I'm not going to see who they are. Just walking down the street here. Both of them said, "Tell them the economy's good."
Right.
Larry Fink said it yesterday. He said that we're not even celebrating.
But,
we've had these debates on the air where others say it's terrible. So I don't think it's terrible, but
people that can't buy groceries.
Yeah, no, the macroeconomic statistics are good, right? But underneath the covers there are some very serious issues with people we have to worry about. No doubt about that. The lower end of the marketplace is something where people are having also the indicia. This is why the 50 basis point reduction, right? Because you've got signs of weakness. And by the way, when the elephant stands only, the grass gets hurt, right? The people at the bottom end of the socioeconomic spectrum are going to be those that are hurt first. And those are the ones I think we should care the most about because the others of us can take care of ourselves.
Right.
And so that's
you should never have a mission accomplished banner because the next thing you know, you turn around and you have a horrible labor report or something, and the lag effects of 500 basis points might be.
Okay, so
it's entirely possible, as you said, we get into the next year and we're in recessionary conditions.
How do you analyze this election then, and the two candidates and their economic policies, and how it deals with, to the degree you think you care about people that are struggling at the bottom of this wage issue?
And we understand you're a longtime Democrat, but
I'm a longtime Democrat. That's right, but I'm a moderate Democrat. For instance, I was just talking to someone yesterday. I would like to have seen my friend Mitt Romney be president in 2016. I hear a lot of 16.
I thought you meant 2012.
16.
It
was his turn in 16.
2012.
Yeah, well,
that would have been better. Much better time for him to be president.
Much better friend Barack Obama was going to win that election. And people around town here say very good things about Nikki Haley, and I've got my eye on her. But right now we have a choice, right? It's no longer theoretical. It's a binary choice between Trump and Harris. And obviously, I think for a whole host of issues, I prefer Harris. On the economic side, there are a whole bunch of issues other than economics where I think I would prefer her around abortion, healthcare, immigration, climate change, those sort of issues.
Right.
We can come back to those later.
But on
the economics, I think the first place to start is the place where I just mentioned earlier, which is the independence of the Fed. She's very clearly supporting the independence of the Fed. Trump is not. I think that's a very big deal. On tariffs, I think that tariffs are a very bad idea. They are a regressive tax. They hurt the people, the grass that the elephants are dancing on. It's a regressive tax on consumption. It's inflationary.
What do you think about the tariffs that we currently have in place right now?
I would personally like to find a way to roll them back. I think tariffs should be used surgically and very infrequently.
You haven't heard Harris say that she plans to roll them back.
I'm saying I said I would prefer, but she's also not saying she wants to increase in tariffs that Trump does. I mean, it's about it's a choice.